you guys probably have this up where you are too, but it's been a thing in California and I'm sure many other states for quite some time. But I'm noticing now, similar to tattoos, where there used to be only be a certain type of guy that got tattoos, and you knew maybe like that guy was getting out of jail, whatever, anything like that, and you kind of like knew to stay away from that guy. Gauges in your ears is what I'm referring to now. With the big holes in the ears where you can get different sizes. It's quite odd, not something I've ever understood. But now it just seems like a lot of different types of people would just have them rather than just the kind of like hardcore metal kind of guys that you used to know. Now you'll just see like a regular guy just like hitting like one of those like elf bar things at a regular ass job with huge gauges in his ears. And I don't know how to say this without hurting anyone's feelings. Perhaps we have some gauged listeners, gauged and boosted, but I've never heard,
Gauged.
yeah, gauged. I've never heard a good opinion come out of anyone's mouth with gauges. Point the small ones, may perhaps when you get the little small ones. I had a friend with some small ones, but like as his gauges stretched out and he got bigger sizes, the takes got worse.
I don't like when it's just like a piece of plastic in there. I'm
Mm.
like, it's like literally just like a molded, like polycarbonate fucking hunk of purple plastic. I'm like, okay, that's dumb. That's not even, it's literally just a piece of plastic. Yeah, I don't like that.
Do we have to examine perhaps what the chemicals of the? Oh boy, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got no. I'm missing one wheel on this chair,
Mm.
and we lost it in the move. And I thought so before every pod I tilt it to the right position to where I can do that, and apparently I misjudged.
I'll slide. It sounded like a 5.2 Richter in your house.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane, by to visit Glen Rock. Need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
But no, the gauges got things. I just the people I hear that they'll have like this. They'll just be like, yeah, I just think like it's all really fucked up. They'll just say that about everything, and you'll just be like, thanks for that.
Yeah.
and then they're like, those are the guys that just like they're, I don't know. I have a feeling there's going to be some gauged people that get mad.
Is there a job that gauged people do better, like our barista take with like the
perhaps
the non-binary
male barista? Yeah, I know we always say that the latter part of the LGBTQ acronym makes the best coffee. And perhaps
we're not anti-trans, dude. Come on.
I just think there should be a quota, and it should go off of what Starbucks needs for fulfillment. But
again, it's when you're in line, you ask for a cold brew. There's people in front of you, but they only need to reach over and pull the handle for 10 seconds, and they do it. That's A+ work.
100%. They got all their pins. They got all their signifier pins on their thing. It's whatever.
They're helping you and they're helping themselves because it's like, just get this fucking guy out the door. That's all we need right there. Yeah. Nice.
So then but I would say gauged guys do coffee pretty well. Food service in general.
I feel like like Cold Stone Creamery, like that's a gauged guy.
Creamery. What is he gonna scream metal lyrics when you tip them or something?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I was hoping you do the Paul McCartney Christmas song, but
that fucking song. I could do a whole podcast on that song.
But no, the gauged guys. That I don't know. We have a lot of we have a lot of them in construction now, and they're always like really I don't know. I guess I'm just saying this because this guy acted really fucking pompous today. He was really annoying. Where I like told him, I'm like, hey, we're gonna be like moving out of here, so like we're not gonna have this big thing set up for you to like park in, so you're gonna have to like go park somewhere else. And he's just like, and he looks at me like that, and he's got his shit flapping. His little gauges are flapping when he shakes it, like flabbergasted. Normally, a person would go like, "Right on, man. Thanks for the heads up. I'll go move my shit." Or like, "Ah, really? All right, sounds good. I'll move it." You know. But this guy's like, "So like, where do I park?" I was like, and then he looks at me, and goes, "Not your problem, huh?" I'm like, "Well, no, it's not. However, I do see a spot right fucking there." Like, I was like, does this thing melt IQ out of you is what I'm wondering. Do these plastic things that get put in there, these fucking like Spitfire wheels that you put in there, little some shit, whatever those things that are in there is that seeping into the brain? Is it a neurotoxin?
I mean, it doesn't decrease the amount of plastic in your bloodstream.
Yeah,
I
know. I'm just saying. Now, look, freedom of expression, do your thing.
Yeah.
I just probably will like kind of just not pay attention to the things that you say, because no, it is what it is.
I love that it was a work thing too. I knew it, dude. I was waiting for the hammer to drop.
A lot of times you get like when I'm making a big blanket statement like that, they're like, "Come on, dude, that's not like," but it's usually just something that happened at work. Like it was just this guy, like that wasn't that offensive, but I was just like, this was not that crazy of a thing that I asked you. And then they always do this big draw that on the vape, like really fucking loud, like on there, and it's just like like I said, like pancakes and bacon flavored. You're like, wow, is that what you miss? Is that what you miss about cigarettes? Is that those taste like pancakes and bacon?
Those fucking flavors, dude.
That's what I don't get. Shouldn't it just be cigarette flavored?
Yeah, dude, that's like fun, dude. That's like they're trying to capture that fun aspect of weed where there's like a trillion strains, you know.
Right.
But they're just trying to,
because weed at the end of the day, it tastes like weed.
It's like the most comically on point smelling like bubble gum. You're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh, it's nicotine. Yeah,
they're like it's everlasting gobstoppers. You gonna go see the new Wonka? Like, Jesus. Oh God.
Yeah. Dude,
so,
I hit one of those because I thought that like
you thought
I've never been. I've smoked like. I tried to smoke a cigarette once when I was like 17. And really I just lit it for a friend. Fuck, my cat. And I was like, well, let me just try.
Subscribe to the Substack. Guys, subscribe to the Substack because his size house is literally falling apart right now.
Yeah.
The entire thing is happening.
On, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. You live.
Well, my cat has to be here in the garage when I podcast because it's like if she doesn't, she'll just freak out. But and I took like one hit, and this is when I was smoking weed like every day, you know, so my lungs I was primed, you know, and then I took like an inhale of the cigarette, and it just like knives on my fucking lungs. I was like, oh my God, you guys like chain smoke this shit? And then years later, I was at this concert and or this like festival and at night, and my friend had this like vape, you know, the tobacco vape, right? And I was like, can I try that? I've never tried nicotine or cigarettes or anything. I did that one cigarette, you know, whatever. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And I did it. And I expected it to be like way less harsh than the cigarette. It was the same exact feeling. I was like coughing up a lung. I'm like, this is insane, dude. Like, it's crazy. And no hate or anything, but I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. It's crazy. Yeah.
No, I don't know at all. I just, you gauge it. When I see the gauges and the big obnoxious vape cloud, I'm just like, cool.
Engaged, dude.
Yeah, they're engaged.
I'm disengaged.
Yeah, I'm disengaged. They're engaged.
Yeah.
To a man because they're gay.
Yeah.
We're going to get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode.
But the
GAYGED.
yeah.
And that's your level of education that you're gonna get is GED.
Got your ass.
Yeah.
The thing when he goes, not your problem, huh? I'm just like, well, you know the answer. Like,
it reminds me of the Tesla battery dead guy story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Where he's like, don't you know how to move my brand new
Yeah.
weird tech
Oh,
car?
is it not your problem? I'm like, where you park your car, correct. I have no say in that. I'm just letting you know it's going to be sitting in the middle of a fucking traffic zone, like literally the busiest street in the town we live in. If that's cool with you, go ahead, dude. I'm just saying I'm clocking out. I'm going home. And like the guy was just like, he was just doing like beautiful mind math in his head, and I was just like, all right, cool, yeah, sounds good. But so did you see the news about Trump today? It was pretty crazy. I wasn't expecting to talk about this.
Wait, did I? No, what is it?
No, it's so this is gonna grab headlines. It's I already had to run this by people that know about politics. So
is it the ballot thing or is it something else?
So Trump is ineligible for office under the 14th Amendment.
Okay.
Insurrectionist ban, which is under the 14th Amendment. Like, you can't do an insurrection. So therefore he's disqualified under, you guessed it, Colorado Supreme Court rules.
Yes, I did briefly hear about this. Yeah.
Just like, okay, so
is that like a rider on the 14th Amendment, literally? Like, you can't do
I know.
insurrection.
Did they just change the Constitution? Yeah, I feel like they did. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that's not it's not as hard.
It's like
as
when CDC updates their website, like definition of a vaccine. They just
updated
it on the
right.
website.
It's like you can't tell me there's like Control F, delete, edit, and then on the Constitution. Like, you tell me you can't do that. Like, I'm sure you can't. I mean, I will guess, like, I know half of the country is totally down for the Constitution to be specifically tailored towards Trump not getting elected. Like,
it's
every
crazy.
amendment, amendment.
Is anything going to come of this, or is this just another one of those?
No, because it's going to go to the Maine Supreme Court, and I don't think like the Clarence Thomas type dudes are going to be. Hell to the no, like that fucking thing. He looks like that guy, but he's I don't think that's going to happen. But this is like one of those things where they like float it out, and I think they want to see how everyone reacts to it. And then they also want a false flag to happen, I think.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting at least 3 in the next.
There's gonna be so many
dude.
false flags, dude. I mean, there already are, but it's gonna be insane. Like, I still remember there was this thing that happened. I'm not trying to make light of this, but there was like a Vegas mass shooting, and then all of a sudden, like, it was that day, and like this will happen on the day that the assault rifle thing got. Something with assault rifles happened. I'm like, okay, so the shooting happened that day of the thing.
Come on,
I'm always just like, all right, can I not just maybe like, can we question that just a little? Just kind of, whatever. I'm not like whether it's real or not, or was it orchestrated or yeah. So that's what it was. Yet this guy, whenever libtards, they randomly caps lock on certain words. That means they're turbo libtarded, terminal even. So this guy goes, yesterday, in all caps, Republicans quietly blocked a bill that would ban assault weapons and mandate universal background checks, trotting out the same lies about Dems wanting to take guns away from law-abiding citizens, all while 4 people were killed in a shooting at the University of Las Vegas. It's like, oh, okay, same day that happened. Got it. Just got it.
Weird.
Yeah, that's the... But with the Trump thing it's gonna be a year of that. I think they know that that's the Republicans' only chance of hopping back into office is Trump. And there are a lot of people who are not into Trump that I think are coming at it from a genuine way. They don't necessarily like his COVID response. I have interesting feelings about that were different. I still think if he is controlled opposition, this is the most controlled opposition I've ever seen.
It's locked up tight. Yeah.
Like I'm just saying, it's unprecedented controlled opposition that we haven't seen. You have to at least admit that. I don't think he is. I think he is.
I don't think he is.
I think he's just one of those guys that like came in. I do think the country was better, 1,000%. Under him, under what the things that the president's in charge of. Because you'll look at these people, they'll say like, people will go, look at my grocery bill. This is like insane, and people will say, well, and you think that's Biden's fault? You think the president controls inflation? But then like they're like they have these like racism charts that they use and stuff. Like they'll be like racism under Trump went up. And people are like, yeah, that's true. And it's because of him. As though
it's so weird. Even though progressively more non-white people voted for him every single election in droves, it's just like, how does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense at all. And like, but they'll do this. It's clear who's in charge is all I'm saying. It's clear who's in charge. You don't, I am not one of those people that says you need to go put the damn, what are they? The elephant? Yeah. The big elephant thing, RNC. Like you don't need to, I don't think you need to become like one of these suit and tie Republican voter people that stays glued to like Republican politics. All I'm saying is it's very clear we live in a Democrat run world. Like it's very clear that
also it's Democrat, but also these invisible forces. And I think this is the deep state, but there's probably more to it than even that, where, it's like it's like dark matter in the universe. You can't see it, but you can see things orbiting it and the effects around it, or it's like Cthulhu when you can't see the monster, but you see like the dust hit it. And you're like, oh, there's the fucking thing right there, And that's kind of what a lot of this shit revealed with Trump, I think, where like, something's up and someone's calling the shots. You don't know who, you don't know what this force is. It's nefarious, right? It's not good in our best interest at all. Right. And I think that's kind of that's the appeal of having it, because it's just like a wrench in the gears that just kind of fuck everything up, which again, we're going up against some insane shit, dude. Like I sent you that, I watched that COVID vaccine video, all the mainstream media people being like, didn't get vaccinated, you should fucking starve to death, and it's just like someone's telling them to say that, and it's just, I don't know. And I mean, Trump being a mainstream politician I'm definitely not happy with his warp speed response and everything, but the fact that he's like adamant, no, mandates are gay. Like, I'm like, that's cool, dude, that you can say that, and that's all you need. It's like, that's all you need at that point.
And
not to make it a vaccine thing only, but you know what I mean? It's just an example.
Right. But it's not even, it's like, it's not even about that. To me, it's more so okay, you're spending all this time trying to like beat this man that you think you can beat clearly, right? Like you ask any Democrat, it's like they're like, well, we have the better candidate, but they think there's this cabal of like Trump people that are going to get him in. Like they the way they speak about it is so conspiratorial. It's more conspiratorial than most things that we say on the show. Like on this show, like the way they talk about it, they're like an OAN and Fox News. They're gonna break into where the democracy factory is, and they're gonna break in and they're gonna hold it up and kill everybody. And then all of a sudden,
insane fairy tales.
Women will be artificially inseminated with evangelical semen, and they'll be hung from the ceiling. And you're like, well, okay, and they'll be factory farmed and stuff, and they have all these takes about it, and then like you're supposed to just be like, yeah, you think so, like when you hear that, and they're like, dude, you don't, and it's that this type of stuff happening, it can be viewed as performative in a sense, like, because I think, again, the Supreme Court, I believe, will not hold, this will go up there. There's a lot of like everyone on Twitter is a lawyer, so I do trust what they're saying. Dude, billable hours, dude. These are billable hours.
What's the drive on Twitter? Is anyone just curious and asking questions on Twitter? Is anyone like, hey, like, what do you think? What do you guys think about this? Everyone's always like, well, as in my second year of law school before I dropped out, I learned that this and this. I'm not. This isn't like the actual people with law degrees are whack too. I'm just saying, it's fucking weird, dude. Yeah, you're right.
But I think a lot of them are. I think a lot of these guys are billing their clients a lot of money and then like posting, which based. But I'm just saying, I think. But anyways, they are helpful in this sense that I don't know how any of this stuff works. And I do think it's going to go there. However, like, this is all just like fodder for like libtard derangement, because if libtards ever just like turn back into like peace and love, chill out, all that stuff, if they turn back into that, I actually think that Trump could win again. And this requires them to be on maximum like overdrive fear, for this this next year, which we're about to come up on the next calendar year in which the election is. And I am nauseated at the fact that we're going to have to hear stuff like this all the time. However, I am a little bit scared where I'm like, literally you can rig anything. Like you can rig and there's going to be people mad. I think Trump is very popular. I think there's a lot of people that really, resonate with. I know people that were like just completely enthralled with what he did. Like, and hell, I can't say I've seen in my lifetime a better president. Like I can't say that. Like I truly cannot say that I've seen a better one. And there's, I guess what I mean is like, there's a lot of people that support him. However, there's so many people that are willing to not have any civil liberties to keep him out of the office because of like sound clips like that they don't like from him. There's only a few people I've ever heard talk about like Trump policy where they are actually opposed to it.
That ship has sailed. Yeah, well, the test you can do is be like, oh, it was great during 2016 to 2020 when no new wars were started. Right. And then people, and it's just like a huge freak out.
Well, there was a war on POC and women, though, that you have to understand that didn't exist before that. Yeah. And then it's still going now because Trump is still popular. But even though Biden's president, he couldn't be blamed for that. I mean, there's no more police shootings right now. When's the last time you heard about a police shooting?
It's kind of crazy. I mean, if only people were to look at the cycles of this stuff and just even if you are against, like I said, like my take on like the Derek Chauvin stuff is like, I don't want that guy doing that shit to anyone really, it's like, I don't think he deserves to be in prison for fucking life or whatever, but I don't want that guy doing that shit to anyone, whether, whatever fucking green.
But the hype machine behind it.
100%. No, and it's
the hype machine behind it and what it was used for. You can
search the Google. I saw that the Google Trends for like these charged terms are on the 4-year cycle. It's like clockwork, dude. It's all what's that, like Project Blue, all those weird, like, remember when Reddit became all like, oh, you have to, like this is like 4-8 years ago or whatever, when all of Reddit's like, oh yeah, you got to vote for this, and it's like, okay, this is not organic at all. This is super gay, So yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah.
So I mean, I think people are totally down with. They think the thing is they bought a lie that the election already was rigged in 2016 by Russia. So therefore, any further rigging to balance the scales in their mind is fine. Because the scales will be balanced.
That's the funniest thing is that it very likely wasn't rigged in 2016 and very likely
not at all.
2020, and it's like, and the evidence. That's why I'm I'll always have respect for, that even though we probably disagree on some niche topics, I'll always have respect for the Glenn Greenwalds and the Matt Taibbis and the Doles and stuff. It's like, because they're like, you guys are fucking insane for believing this shit. Then they're like, here's the proof that you guys are wrong. And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. People, because man, there were people that would go out like that. There was all types of like official hearings. They were like, and we found, like, I'm sorry, this Mueller report thing. Like I saw somebody in our Discord. I don't necessarily need to say their name or anything because I think they were taking a candid photo of this, but they had a picture of like,
they have gauges.
It's possible. It's possible. I actually don't know. No. I'm pretty sure this person doesn't. But they had that picture of the like lib bookshelf like at somebody's house, and it was like, I remember what it was. But one of them was the Mueller report book. It was like 900 pages. And I'm like, for something that is wrong, like, and like, just like sitting, like, what? And I made a joke, and I was
they'll read that, but they won't read Dissolving Illusions. Sorry, I just
there's pictures that get you through Dissolving Illusions quicker. Like, I mean, the pictures aren't great. Yeah, I'll tell you that much. They're not great.
It's like a kid with like fucking like an archback, dude. McDonald's.
You're like,
back.
Cool. I burned through 30 pages because I saw fucking measles pictures the whole time. But the typhoid fever children.
What are you saying though? What are you saying?
Well, no, I was like joking. I was like, do you think that 900-page Mueller report book is actually hollowed out and there's just like a little pint of Drano in there? Just in case Trump wins again. And then
it's like emergency glass.
Get the book. It's time. Yeah. Pass it around, and everybody's like, I love you.
Remember Jim Comey? Remember like My mom
Lev
was
Parnas.
she was calling. She's like, I
Lev
saw a shirt that
Parnas.
said, yeah.
Remember when they said that name? I remember hearing that name. I'm like, that's not a real person. And they're like, no, trust me. When you hear the Lev Parnas thing,
Lev
and it's
Parnas, yeah.
like, isn't that a bit like it sounds like some Primus like fucking ass like some guys in Primus
or like a South Park character or something. Dude.
I know, yeah.
Lev Parnas,
Parnas.
yeah.
Kids, I'm telling you, your new substitute teacher, because Mr. Mackey is, Mr. Garrison's getting his transgender surgery. Yeah. Lev Parnas.
Yeah. No, the whole thing is like, I'm like probably, I don't even know. I like the Trump years. Whenever people are like really into him, I'm just kind of like, okay, like that's not me. That's not who I am. I don't care. I think it's criminal they took him out of Home Alone 2. That's a fucking psyop, dude.
We did get the best meme of all time out of that.
We did.
Though.
Yep. Yeah, that was you. You kind of started that, I think.
Reddit is down the hall. Reddit is down the hall. I spam it. I spam it wherever I see Reddit behavior. It's because it's their biggest fear too. Like is the guy telling you that it's Reddit is Reddit's biggest fear.
Go away from here. Go back to your weird little place or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just can't when people are just so willing to believe these insane fairy tales just because of like a bad dude and a villain, and unwilling to criticize real villains, like gain of function research, not gain of fiction, gain of function, and just like shit. Like I'm just like, okay, what are we doing here, you guys? Like, are you real? Or do you have real thoughts? Are you a real person? Or
no?
Not?
They have an audio compressor on their brain, like they do. It's like when you tell them something, like they're like, yeah, but Mike Huckabee, they'll just say some like guy's name that hasn't been powerful in years, but he's a Republican that has a microphone and says things, and they're like Mike Huckabee and Jim Jordan and all these people, these names. And
it's funny that they're scared of these like Republican guys, but actual Republican voters are like, that guy's the biggest fag in the world. They
exactly. So but no, they'll say this. They'll say this like, Mike Huckabee, the Jim Jordan, all these people, and then like you'll say like, yeah, but it's like, I think the real villain is such and such, and their brain compresses. It's like the conversation's done. It's at capacity. Like when you put a compressor on something, when it goes over a certain volume, it just kind of like peaks out and and to avoid that noise. And it's like they can't have a red pill moment. That's the weirdest part about like some of these libs. Like they're just like they are vaccinated against red pill, basically. Like they it's scary. It's scary. They took the RPV shot, like it's just they can't do it, and they go for the booster every day. They fucking go in there and they're just told this nonsense fairy tale world building fantasy author nonsense that isn't entertaining. It's not entertaining. I'm like, can they give you better bread in circuses, you weirdos?
Well, it's funny they don't ask for more. They don't ask for better. No, more than that. That's all it takes. It's literally like the lowest common denominator.
They're down for like straight up fentanyl addicts like breaking into their car, and they'll be like, the city, don't you love it? And then I like
the on the other side of the political spectrum, that shit's like more funny and fun and like entertaining, where it's just like, even if I don't believe it, I'm like, what's the next thing? I want to hear it, dude. This is tight.
No, there is like a taboo element that makes it more fun, like it's
like legit, like the actual OG QAnon shit. That's like a fucking story, dude. You're like, it's like a fucking fiction.
Way more fun. Oh, dude, okay, so like I'll say this.
It's actually coherent too. It's kind of like,
you run a publishing company, right? You come in. I come in with my Don Draper easel. You know what I mean? The meme like that, and I tell you Russiagate, the story, like the story about Russiagate, Putin, all these people being installed, all that Russian assets there, and I tell you, and then what happened, and you're sleeping, you're drooling on your fist, sleeping because and then I go, all right, we got to switch. Let me tell you my other idea. Don't send the guards yet, because that story's so boring. And then you do the QAnon thing, dude. JFK Jr. He's gonna come in, like all that stuff. It's more entertaining. It's cooler. It's cooler. There's way more of a Joseph Campbell hero's journey, in my opinion. And just I don't know. I think it's I think
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I like
it's
that.
in a bad state right now. But have you? I will say, I have a question for you though. After all this, let me see here. Let me go to the top of this. Oh, here's the question: losing the leftists who turn right. What do we make of former friends who fell down the rabbit hole of the right?
Oh, that article.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
So this is from In These Times. Never heard of the publication. Apparently it's a thing. Feels like a weird sock puppet thing that just popped up. But whatever. Feels very Sorosian.
I think I've seen it around. I think I've heard of it. Yeah, but it's
yeah, and so it's by Catherine Joyce and Jeff Charlotte. They sound cool. So it's basically this thing. It's very online. Somebody needs to stop divulging information to some of these people because they are kind of hearing some things that I'm like, okay, you have to really have that burner lurking or a snitch. But it name drops everybody, all these evil fascists. A couple of them have been guests on the show. Definitely one, Max Blumenthal. Shout out to the boy. The boy got active. He's in the article. It's very funny. Like Glenn Greenwald's a huge one. They always go after Glenn Greenwald. That's like the big. He's like the big. He's kind of that guy. You know, I have my differences with Glenn Greenwald and stuff, but like he's kind of that soldier meme where he's like holding his arms out and taking all those like bullets and knives and stuff like while you sleep. Because he does take like looks like he makes a good amount of money, but you know, at that he does seem to take a lot of shit for what he has to go through. So they have Glenn Greenwald and Max Blumenthal, who are like the big, like, ooh, they're scary. These are like leftist guys that went to the right wing. And
shout out Max. It's still so crazy that he's been on our show. Like,
I know I need to get him back on. We need to get him back on for the real Izzy P. Stein episode. But there's one that said there are those who are not quite there yet, such as Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks, currently mourning the leftism she now believes gaslit her about a crime wave. There's a lot of air quotes on this.
Oh, that's what I know. Yeah, it's like every paragraph is an air quote.
Okay, who do you think was in charge of the air quotes? Catherine Joyce or Jeff Charlotte? We know who neither of these people are. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You pick. But I don't know these people. Yeah. I'll just say Charlotte is plus 340 so I know the article got turned in and she's like, I just have some minor edits.
No word changes. I like the I like the gestalt.
I just some light punctuation.
Light punctuation.
So but Anna Kasparian says I guess Anna Kasparian says that she mentioned crime once, which you're not supposed to do.
That's so the whole funny. I just have to interject. Like I've vaguely, you know, Anna Kasparian, she's what the Young Turks have vaguely come across my field over the years. I was just like, this is so fucking dumb. So it's funny just like tuning back into that and being like, oh, she's starting to, it's everyone again, like, and this isn't any credit to anyone on the Young Turks or whatever, but it's just funny that someone like, even like someone of that is flirting with being based now, or, you know what I mean? It's just so funny, dude. It's like, because the other end of the spectrum is exhausted. It's completely exhausted of all credibility at this point, right?
Right.
As this article shows, if you have a brain and you read this article, you're like, what the fuck are these guys talking about, dude? It's like, yeah.
And this is geared towards like leftists. I don't think this isn't geared towards like our parents or, you know what I mean? Like CNN, like viewing people. This is geared towards like, I would say like the Chapo ilk a little bit, like maybe, or like, who's that fucking guy that used to do shit with Max and he fucking like moved to China? He literally did move to China. That guy. Like people like that. Like that ilk. Ben Norton. That's his name. Yeah. So like just that kind of, or you know, Benjamin P. Dixon, all those guys. Like why do they always do the middle initial? But they go after Taibbi. Taibbi's another big one because Taibbi did the Twitter files, so like that freaked everybody out. That that was a big thing. So they go hard after RFK in here, which is like, dude, that's like not even a thing anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's I mean, I respect RFK. I'm just saying his presidential run is not happening. It's just not gonna be the case. But they go after Jimmy Dore because there is a overall war on humor, particularly in this article. So
I was just listening to Jimmy Dore today. He had this interview with this woman who wrote this book, just the basic like, you know, like I'm a liberal, but these guys are like these. It was about PMCs, you know, and how they're hoarding like, you know, virtue signaling resources and stuff. It was good. I mean, it was like definitely like, I think, you know, our RC has evolved a little bit beyond that like basic understanding. But I'm like, shit, this slaps, dude. And I'm like, I would chop it up with you. You know, this is fucking
right.
Yeah, these are heroes.
Exactly. It's so over the past 7 years, the intellectuals, and this they're speaking about the you know, Jimmy Dore, people who, you know, are in cahoots with like Tucker Carlson or, you know, doing these things. So over the past 7 years, the intellectuals, the comedians, their fans, the growing cohort of voters now leaning toward RFK Jr., 22% in one November poll, have taken, quote, red pills a la The Matrix, tumbled down rabbit holes in the Wonderland sense. In moments of great flux from the 1960s, from which Horowitz fled, the post 9/11 years, the current clusterfuck, Reddit is down the hall to the left, of crises so vast and interconnected that they might more simply be called our condition. Such portals from one reality to another are plentiful, and currently they're mostly riddling the left as fascism gathers force, drawing together tendencies that didn't previously align. There's the rabbit hole of the anti-imperialism, in which the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and the twisting logic by which some come to believe first in Vladimir Putin and the self-declared illiberal democracy of Hungary's Viktor Orban. There's the gender confusion of the trans exclusionary radical feminists who began with a defense of women's only spaces, then fall like J.K. Rowling into alliances with the Christian right. There's the race versus class debate and the declaration that identity is just a distraction.
And all these have air quotes on them too.
all over. There's Me Too and the backlash of those who can't let go of fallen heroes. Because all the stories are true. There are genuine critiques of the concept of, quote, white fragility that collapse into white fragility. No quotation marks. So they're saying if we say the white fragility thing, that's in quotation marks. But if they say it, it's because we're fragile. And I love it. I absolutely love it so much. They document the slide of Matt Taibbi, which they take back to 2017, and call him a misogynist. They snark about cancel culture, you know, in quotes. About
this whole article is like, if you don't remain as dumb as us over the last 5 years, you're a bad person. This is basically this whole
it's all a vibe check for them. It's like, hey,
can you find the part where they're like, oh, this person's bad, they didn't follow the COVID rules? You remember that part?
I'm getting it's
cool
a really long.
It's one of those ones you have to like, wait, how long is this? And you like have to scroll through it. You're like, really? Yeah, exactly.
That's here we go. Yeah, they go hard after like the Dime Square ilk. That's how you know this is like a very Twitter article. In Manhattan, that sort of spectacle, call it the cool factor of bigoted rebellion, has been on display in real life in the widely chronicled sceney subculture of Dime Square, where a mostly young, often arty people began to converge in 2020 in bars and pandemic discounted lofts, eager to party despite COVID restrictions. Inspired by transgressing one boundary, they made a movement out of transgressing others. Reporters contrasted the young downtown scene, more quotes, as the inverse of earnest leftist politics, now recast as middle-aged moralism. One of the scene's patron saints, playwright Matthew Gazda, I don't even know who that is, said the combination of repressive COVID governance following the Trump-era moral panics has produced a moment of ideological uncertainty and openness, in which some leftists found common cause with conservatives and used strategic irony to counter what they viewed as scolding woke left.
Sounds like sounds like Rare Candy.
And just like, okay, so people just realized that the world went to shit. Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In a hyperdrive, you watched it happen. You went outside when you weren't supposed to and saw things you weren't supposed to see. And it's like the Philip K. Dick, adjustment team thing. Like, you kind of got caught while the world was adjusting, and you're like, oh, this is horse shit.
Yeah.
So some declared the police killings inspired the Black Lives Matter movement a racial psyop. Slurs, quote, retard is ubiquitous, along with anti-queer terms, and even the N-word became a marker of heterodox thinking. It was just like
they hate it. They hate, because it's really cool to not use the word retard. Remember, you're actually not cool if you use that word.
The whole thing with this is these guys are against freedom. These guys are against democracy. They're falling for a psyop because they're mad at the world, and they're look at how stupid they are. Now, here's a list of words you shouldn't use. Here's a list of things you shouldn't think. Here's a list of people you shouldn't like. Or else you're an evil fascist. We are for preserving freedom in America. Like, okay, gotcha.
Great. Got it.
But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just now, and then the dark money stuff comes in, like the Peter Thiel, all that stuff. Look,
why is that only one side? Why is it only?
I know. Yeah.
Why is there never any acknowledgement of the other side of that? You know what I mean? It's like,
I know.
Because there obviously is. If you want to be ideologically consistent, there is dark money floating around for all sorts of shit for all sorts of reasons. That's like a non sequitur. It doesn't mean anything. It is. You could point, like, Great Barrington Declaration. People are like, oh, they got dark money. Like Jay Bhattacharya and like like the Stanford doctors that were like, this is whack, this pandemic shit. And it's like, oh, so yeah, you can call out. You guys got everything you wanted. You got fucking vaccine mandates. You got people fired from your jobs, but you're worried about dark money. It's just the dumbest critique that you could ever have, I think.
Because again, if you stomp on the anthill and you see a couple fucking ants come out still, like, yeah, you destroyed the anthill, but there's still a couple ants moving around. So did you win? And that's the way they look at these things.
Yeah.
And I think I've used the anthill metaphor quite a bit recently, so I apologize. But I think it worked. I think I don't even remember what I used it for otherwise. The Lovecraft episode, by the way, shout out to that awesome episode. Everybody seems to really like that. It's a long article. So you can read it. It's not well written. It sucks, and it's written by two fucking losers. So go ahead if you want, but I felt the need
and
to.
Who did they quote? Like Eon Higgins and
Owen,
all the greats, dude, all the fucking greats.
Yeah, I know, and that's how you know it's literally just somebody who hangs out with those people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that type of horse shit where it's just like, cool, you fell for the Rolling Stone fucking Oklahoma emergency room thing. Awesome, cool. I should trust you. You fell for that. One of the fakest stories in the history of the world. It's just okay, cool. Sure. So, that's what's going on today I guess that was the most political we've gotten in a while. So whatever. Fuck it. So yeah, again, at the end of the day, like, even if you lightly criticize the thing that's going on, if you say that it's gone too far, why don't you say what you really mean? Because there's people that they quoted in there, and I'm not going to bring up the names, there's people in there that I actively don't like in that article, but I also am like, well, I'm grouped with that.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I
gonna
mean?
happen.
Like the opposition does not see the nuance that we all see
No.
amongst each
Yeah.
other. Like they don't. You're all the
And
same.
there's
It's
there's
literally the
levels to it. There's levels, like
same.
again, it's like I could disagree with a Glenn Greenwald on some minor thing, but it's better than garbage ape or whatever. Like where I
Right.
can't even, we don't even like it would be like on another planet, on another galaxy. Yeah,
Exactly.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, can't do shit.
So let's have a little fun. There is, I mean, that was fun, but let's make the subject matter lighter, I should say. And let's talk about gut health. Because we got a question, and let me make sure I find. Okay, I'm not going to say this person's name. He wrote it publicly, but like whenever somebody's like talking about like their gut or stomach, I'm not going to be like, let's say their name. They have stomach problems, or I don't even know if this guy doesn't currently have them, but he's cool. I think a long time mutual follower and everything. But he said, I need an RC deep dive on kombucha. Or have you guys talked about it before? Pretty sure it fucked my gut biome to the extreme. Took me a year to fix it. Real fast, because I know you probably know more about this than I do, but I've always thought kombucha just like tasted good. When I would have it, I thought there were just so many other ways that I could get the probiotics, the live culture, that stuff. Like it seems like, and even in drink form, like there's just like better ones, like the GT. I went through a phase where I drank some of the GT ones. I just wasn't the biggest fan. I get what they're saying though. Like there is a time where you get like really bloated, like with like fucking 6 months fucking pregnant stomach sometimes after you like have that. And I've had that. I understand what they're saying. I haven't maybe had it that bad, but I get that. I kind of like probiotic yogurts and stuff. And like I think and just things like that are pretty good. But I never saw like a huge like, oh, this is something I need to constantly have in the way that Rishi is, in the way that other certain things are. So your take?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's good that it's in stores everywhere and you can grab it just like a soda. That's I think that's cool. Man, I wish. So one of my buddies up here, my old coworker, was he's literally a kombucha fucking expert, like autist, where he works. He was like the main floor manager for Brew Doctor Kombucha, which is a huge company now. I think it's like the second or third biggest behind GT Dave's in America or in the world or whatever. And the main dude's gonna fucking sell it for like 400 mil. Dude. It's crazy, dude. And but yeah, same thing. I never noticed like some huge benefit or negative to it too much. And I think there's different grades. The thing about kombucha is it's bacteria that produce acetic acid, which is vinegar, right? It's like the benefits you could get all the benefits from kombucha just by drinking apple cider vinegar, and that's probably healthier for you than just straight kombucha. Than the kombucha, which most of the time there's a lot of sugar that hasn't been fermented out. Not that big a deal, but it's also very acidic. So you want to be a little careful with your teeth. You want to swish out with some clean water after, just to keep it real. But yeah, for probiotics, I mean, I was thinking about this today where people do the kombucha thing, or they're always like, oh, this thing has probiotics or prebiotics. And I'm like, and I'll try it. I'll be like, I don't feel, and it's, you want to feel that stuff, or pills and powders and stuff like that. And a lot of times it costs a ton of money. The number one thing I've ever found for probiotic supplementation, and I need to get back into this, and again, this is based Twitter health pilled for sure, is making your own kefir, water kefir, and but honestly more powerful I think is the milk kefir. And again, I'm non-dairy, so I do coconut milk kefir, stuff like that, coconut milk yogurt, like you said. That stuff, first of all, if you get in the cycle of making it, which is super easy, you just put it in a jar and let it sit out for 24 hours and then keep the cycle going like sourdough bread or sourdough starter. It's essentially free once you get started, so you're not spending $45 a month on these probiotic pills. But that stuff just has a extreme, like almost like happiness benefit, where if you eat a good amount of it, it's like that. It literally will affect your gut brain connection, and every time I've tried it and gotten this, I need to get back into it. But yeah, that stuff, making your own either coconut kefir, coconut water kefir, or just milk kefir, goat kefir. The other thing, I remember when I was I lived I sublet a room in Oakland for like a month, and I was extremely poor. And I was like, what am I going to eat for this month? And I literally went to Whole Foods and I just got a fuck ton of bulk oats. And I got, even though I was like I'm always been mainly plant-based, but and then I just got this really high quality strawberry flavored goat kefir in a giant bottle, and like some flax seeds or something, chia seeds. And that's like all I ate for a month. And it was at a time when I had and I'm like, oh, I'm going to starve. This is going to be horrible. I'm like, I just got to survive this month, on these oats and stuff. And at the time I was struggling with my skin a lot. And like a week into it, just on the kefir and the oats and the chia seeds, like my face was completely clear. And it was like the clearest it had ever been. And I was like, dude, something's going on here. This is crazy. And so I've never forgot that experience. So yeah, I'm all about the kefir for sure. And again, it's once you get started, it's free. You will be giving it away to friends because it multiplies exponentially. It's crazy.
I've never even tried it before. I don't know why I haven't. I like to experiment with stuff like that. I do. Yeah, I do. I'd like to. I would do the milk one for sure. Cause I mean, it is fucked up. Cause like, I think everybody has like gut problems. Like it's weird. Yeah. Like it's like the stock American feeling is like, man, damn, my stomach hurts.
I think a lot of it's glyphosate. I think of this low grade pesticide.
Really?
Yeah, because the glyphosate works on the shikimate pathway, which the lie they told it's just like COVID vaccines, where they're like, yeah, this pathway doesn't exist in humans, so it's good, but it exists in our gut bacteria, so it doesn't destroy human cells, although it actually does. That's through another mechanism, but it directly like decimates our gut microbiome because both plants and our gut bacteria and bacteria in general have the shikimate pathway, which is what glyphosate uses to end its life, basically. So I think that's a big part of it. And again, like even that's the thing about this whole like the black pill, white pill thing is things can be so horrible, black pilled, toxic, all these crazy issues, all that stuff. And then the solution is almost better than the problem was to begin with, where it's like, it's like a left hand, right hand, you like climb the ladder kind of thing. And again, I talked in my Bob's Red Pill, I talked about that in the autism one, where a big part of reversing autism in kids is water kefir, coconut kefir, goat kefir, just all the kefir, just flood. If you flood your body with active probiotics that survive your GI tract and digestion, you will handle most I swear that's 80% of it, because you'll be producing your own supplements, your B vitamins and shit inside your body in a biologically active form, just all that stuff. So I think that's a big part of it for sure.
And that reminds me, Bob's Red Pill number 12. Biotechnology is a cult. Some are saying you're best. I would agree.
So what are people saying? Because I saw the one comment.
We will read that. We will read that. Well, I'll tell you guys right now, like not everybody that listens to this show subscribes to the Substack. It is free. It is paid. You get over 75 episodes that we've done, including Gain of Fiction and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. If you pay, if you subscribe for free, you get 12 volumes of Bob's Red Pill. You get Aiden's great articles. You get Andrew Whitstadt good stuff from him. We got one dropping tomorrow from Montgomery Carlo. I mean, there's all types of stuff that you get on there. Hell, I wrote a piece a long time ago on there.
We're waiting for number 2. We're waiting, dude. You got bars.
I said all I need to say. Some people need 12 things to say what they need to say.
Yeah.
I said it once. Hey, you know, whatever. I'm more, you know, no. I should, but these words don't flow out of me in the way that yours do. I will read the first small paragraph of this. Biotechnology is a cult. Now, you might be thinking, like, I don't even know what biotechnology is. So you have a pretty good hook at the beginning. Like, have you been going to journalism school without telling me or something? Because this is pretty good. Biotechnology essentially functions as a cult in our society. Exaggerations, promises, along with a complete denial of risk and harm are the price of admission. The incubator of the fledgling cult members is the STEM Reddit Scientism Industrial Complex, which funds its most potent concentration in university science programs. So talk about this a little bit. There might be people that have had some questions. I didn't see any questions, so it sounds like you did a good job explaining it. But like, first off, a lot of people came here from, I got to be careful because we're on YouTube, from certain gene therapy things that have happened in 2020, 2021, certain stuff that is causing a lot of harm for people and all that. Now, it's been going on long before that, right?
Yeah. So I don't want to judge anyone for, I tried to avoid this. I think I mentioned it, but
like a
if
holier than thou kind of thing.
Yeah, if you got pilled on this stuff from these therapies that Gene references in as of late in modern times, that's fine for sure. But a lot of people, and you were always adamant about this too, that this, especially in the episodes we did years ago, where it's like, it didn't start with this. You know, it didn't start.
Right.
It wasn't like they just like, oh, hey, let's try it. You know, it's,
and
like,
even if it's your first red pill, don't stop there. That's always my thing. Like, that's fine if that's your first red pill. It's one of the it's the biggest one I've seen. It's still, I mean, nothing crazier in my opinion. Like in real time, the hysteria around it. Yeah, it was. I mean, to date, sadly. I mean, who knows what the hell's coming? But like, you don't want to be like, well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, like those boomers, like Berenson types and stuff. Like, you wanna like, fuck Alex Berenson, dude. Somebody fucking sent me one of his tweets, and they're like, "This guy's lame." I'm like, "Fuck, I forgot about him. Fuck him." Yeah,
he's such a square, dude. Alex Berenson, dude.
He's like just
New York Times, dude. You're literally a New York Times reporter. Dude, come on, dude. You can never.
We were desperate for anything. We were desperate for any sort of like thing. His Rogan episode was pretty good at the beginning of it. And I was like, okay, we're in. But anyways, so this wasn't the first one. It shouldn't be your first. It shouldn't be your last red pill. It can be your first one, but it shouldn't be your last one.
Yeah. First of all, there's like the capture of industry by science and everything, like by pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. That's the obvious part. That's like step 0. But beyond that, there's people that are bought into the cult. And I just noticed this when I went to school, and I went to a very biotech heavy school and everything. And I was always kind of like a science-y STEM, mostly math kind of a kid in high school and shit, growing up and like, learning that stuff. So I was kind of ushered into that world, but I always was like, this is dumb. I don't like these people. I'm not like them. My brain works differently. And then going to college really just kind of exposed that. I feel it was just like, but yeah. So the big example is GMO food, genetically modified crops, transgenic crops, Monsanto, Bayer,
golden rice,
DuPont, Syngenta, golden rice. Yeah. So, again, the thing I use in the main thing is the main overarching theme is that if you're a real scientist and you're a real scientific observer, you'll notice that we are horribly inept at genetically modifying anything, because genetics are way more complicated and complex than we've ever given them credit for. And so I invoke the Human Genome Project, where we literally thought we were going to solve every disease through genetic engineering and through mapping the genome. And there was this private investor who's actually kind of based, Craig Venter, this guy who's a billionaire who funded his own private genome project to compete with the public one. Based, he was like a
That's
he's like a
literally
Mark,
science. That's
yeah,
literally science.
exactly. He was kind of like a Mark Cuban type dude and shit.
Right.
And then he slowly got more disillusioned with it as it went on. It turns out we have less genes than like a starfish, right? Humans do,
Damn.
right? So what that means is that all these complex interactions, the things that create our intelligence and all these complex things that make us human, are multiple genes interacting in a symphony that we barely understand. And of course, the rare candy take is there's probably way beyond scientific influences on this. Like Rupert Sheldrake, there's probably morphogenetic fields, there's like interdimensional, there's like so many things factoring into what this is. Of course, you can never talk about that in a scientific setting. But like honest, non-captured scientists would always be like, hey, this is weird. These things aren't really acting the way they think we are, or we change this gene here on one thing and it affects this whole thing on this other thing. Or we try and create these one proteins here and it creates all these other rogue proteins, which is this thing you keep seeing come up over and over and over again, especially recently. And the GMO thing is funny. I mean, if people knew the history of GMOs, and people have such a hard time giving up the GMOs. It's such a like rationalist thing to be like,
Right.
we could use GMOs. Yeah, sometimes the companies are bad, but we could use them, right? It'll be fine. And it's like maybe. But the first transgenic crops, which created the ones that are still in use today, like the Roundup Ready corn and the BT corn and stuff like that, were literally created with a gene gun, which was literally a gun, a revolver with metal bullets with DNA coated on the bullets that they would fire into plants and try.
That's probably not the worst job, though.
But the thing is, these guys were proud of this. They were like, "Isn't this cool?" And like any normal person seeing that, be like, "That wait, that's how you genetically modify?" And it's just insane, right? It's like there's nothing. There's nothing accurate or precise about that style of genetic engineering. It's insane. But then now people say, well, oh, that was the old days, and now we have CRISPR and precision and gene editing and stuff like that. And to that, I would reference Jonathan Latham's excellent article, God's Red Pencil is CRISPR. I forget the exact title, but if you type in God's Red Pencil CRISPR, Latham's article will come up. It's fantastic. It's exposing that basically even things we call precision gene editing fundamentally lay on a background of our still not understanding genetics more broadly, which will always leave us in the dust. It's like if software engineers just deleted chunks of code at random in their major project. And we're like, why are these bad things happening? We don't get it. And ironically, like non-Reddit software engineers and engineers in general are actually some of the most based and pilled people on these topics, because they're like, wait, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah,
like, we would never do this in for computer code, let alone like biological systems, right?
Right. It's like Michael Crichton actually looking at the climate change data.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. But then at the end of the article, I thought this was funny. I just thought this would be, I just randomly went to independentsciencenews.com, which is a friend of the show, Jonathan Latham. I was like, let me see what headlines he has. And it's insane. It's like you read this shit, it's like a fucking horror novel, like a sci-fi, and it's like shit's happening every day. These people are sick. They're in a cult. And they're and again, you go to school, if you're a biology major or a genetics major, or PhD student, you either fit into the system or you're heterodox and you're one of the weirdos and you're not down, and and then your career's done, you don't get funding or whatever. So it is a cult. That's the main thing. And I want to start doing more positive red pills, but I was like, let me start with number 13 because I'm a big number 13 guy. So 12, I'll just bust my nut on this biotech one. And yeah, thanks for reading
that. And that you did. And if you haven't read it yet, rarecandy.substack.com. It's on there. Bob's Red Pill.
Oh, and the comment, right?
And the comment. That's what we're getting to here.
Read that. Read that all. I just gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no, this is a good comment. This is the type of stuff we like. Hey, if you like it, man, leave a comment, man, because sometimes we don't know. But this is from Biz. That's what he goes by. If you follow him on Twitter, if you know, he's a great follow. I think he's shadow banned. I see it. I had to like go to his timeline. And I was like, dude, I haven't seen any of this shit, dude. Like, what the hell? Like, he puts a lot of base stuff out on the internet. But yeah, goes by Biz on there. Okay, so his comment: best Bob's red pill yet. I was just completing my BSc in molecular biology and genetics when the pandemic hit. With some of the hubris that you describe, I lined up for the shot thinking that it was going to be just as effective as water and no more dangerous. Ugh, what a mistake. Even my virology professor had said at the time that mRNA shots were unlikely to be successful as our cells are literally designed to keep shit like that out. But that was before we knew about the LNPs. The whole experience was a massive black pill for me, but I persisted with capital the science, love how he did that, and started a postgraduate genetics program investigating the cause of intersexuality in goats. A fascinating subject which revealed to me just how complex genetics really is and how simplistic the models that your average Reddit brain science lover believes in. What finally caused me to snap was in a meeting with my academic supervisor. She asked me if it was okay to talk about chromosomes as the basis for sex in animals, as some other students had complained to the administration when she had said in this recent first year course, what the fuck? My whole research project was about investigating exactly this. I couldn't believe I was having this discussion with a professor of molecular biology. I realized then that it was all bullshit, that scientists were craven fools who could be bullied into stating things they knew simply weren't true by fucking children. I wasn't expecting to get there. That was good. And I finished the quarter and didn't go back. You're absolutely right. The ones deepest in denial about all this are the neophytes, and they're the ones we're going to have to endure long after the Borlas of the world are gone. Honestly, I should have known better, as I worked for Greenpeace for many years on the anti-GMO campaign and knew how bad the science was. But I'd fooled myself into thinking it was just a small part of the biotechnology industry and not the basis for the whole fucking thing. Quite the black pill to swallow. But I'm glad I didn't waste any time chasing fool's gold. Keep spreading the word, guys. You're doing the Lord's work. No, you are, sir, and that's a natural trajectory of a based person in the science field. Is the this is all bullshit, and having that, which is really it's really great to hear. It's we all go in here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, to certain industries. I mean, I didn't. I just went into shit jobs and got my red pill there. But some people they study their whole life and they are interested in the field that they're in, but also they are what keeps them going during like arduous finals and long lectures and stuff like that is like, well, this is good for the world and all that. That's kind of what keeps a lot of people going that are interested in it. Yeah, and like, yeah, you can make some fucking bank doing this stuff too. But there's also the kind of moment that he had where you're kind of like, okay, this is just one field that's struggling in science or in biotech or whatever, one field. And then this is a common thing with a lot of people is going like, that's fine. They're going to get that ironed out, or they're going to figure out that we need to disregard whatever that is. The rest of it will be okay. And then when you realize that the next thing you hop into is complete horse shit too, you're like, okay, if you're smart, if you haven't had the red pill jab, the anti-red pill jab that I referenced earlier, if you haven't had that, you will come to that conclusion and go, wait, this is fucked up.
There's another effect where, beautifully said. There's a thing where, I mean, you could make any claims on like PhD people or whatever, but the real super brains, like the hyper intelligent people, generally go into like they're like theoretical physicists, right, or mathematicians, right? Those people are smart people that are coming up with new physics and math. I mean, they might be ideologically biased or Reddit or whatever, but they got the raw fucking intelligence for sure. The people that go into biology and genetics and stuff like that, you have to be, like organic chemistry is hard in undergrad, and like it's hard, but it's generally those people are not quite as intelligent and as just autistic as like the physicists, let's say, right? They're more like normal people, right? But biologists like to treat life and genetics as if it were as clear cut and dry as, say, physics, which is extremely complicated and complex.
Right. But there are rules. There are like core tenets and rules of physics. Yeah.
But genetics is vastly more complex than that in certain domains. But we treat it like, put this in, get this out.
Right.
And it's so never trust any bio. And again, the whole thesis of my, because the nagging thought in my mind and what people say is like, well, are you against all biotech? Are you against, because there is stuff, for example, okay, like genetic engineering. So there are ways to traditionally breed crops without genetic engineering, but using genetic screening techniques, right? To where you can guide naturally the genome to a place you want it for better yield, all this stuff, right? Using genetic tools, genetic sequencing, which is a form of biotechnology, to create safe food that is more resilient, all this stuff. And it's actually more effective than the genetic engineering. That's the thing.
But it's not allowed to win. It's not allowed to win.
It's not allowed to win. It's not allowed to win.
It's not allowed to win.
Yeah.
It's rigged. Yeah,
exactly. And but the thing is when you point out like, hey, this GMO has off-target effects. It produces proteins that you didn't intend for it to produce, or this novel gene therapy has these effects that we didn't. And again, there's two major revelations come very recently in the last month or two that we've learned about. You would think that the people whose job it is, whose whole careers are based on promulgating biotechnology, would be like, oh, that's interesting. We don't have this all figured out. Let's get to the bottom of why and make it better.
Right.
They never do that. They're always like,
money.
You're anti-science. You're fucking,
It's just, and the money's like, hey man, this shit's got to hit the market by this 100%. Fucking point. This got to roll out. Like there's a timeline on this. Even if the scientist is like, yeah, you're right. Like, let me take this up to the fucking headquarters. And they're like, bro, we're fucking ready to rock by May. This shit's supposed to hit the streets. I got the street team ready. The mixtape needs to get pushed.
Yep.
Like what? Come on, I can't wait. The fucking investors were already over budget. Blah 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 blah. All this type of stuff. There is that element of it, which I am sympathetic to with like some of the socialists, kind of the base, like leftist leaning socialist people, where they're like, yeah, you got to get the money out of that stuff. I am sympathetic to that, to that part of it, but. It's just we see it happen many times. I mean, there's like movies about it, and people just think it's fiction.
Yeah, I know.
Like they're just like, oh, that's a good story. Yeah,
it's like Alex G said, like the Constant Gardener it's a Pfizer story. It's literally on the Wikipedia page. It's like
we need to get her back on for Michael Clayton. Michael Clayton's a great movie. I actually think it's a better movie than Constant Gardener. We need to get her back on. I'll hit her up. But because that one is crazy. I can't believe you haven't seen that movie. That movie is sick. You'll love it. But it's a George Clooney joint. Yeah, but the okay, so one last thing before we go. Very fun, lighthearted question. Again, the mailbag hotline, the voicemail hotline is always open. It's 510-256-9850. Just leave a voicemail. At first, it's going to sound like something that you'll get to the voicemail. Just sit there and wait. No, I've called it, and I'm like, oh, this is weird, but I'm not setting up a personalized thing. Sorry. Yeah. So you got just sit there. It'll take you through, and then leave a voicemail. Trust me, it's worked well so far. But this one is from Mac. Shout out to Mac. Not Big Mac McCarthy. This is another Mac, and he's also very, very cool.
All the Macs are great. Yeah.
I love the Mac named Dre. I mean, Mac Dre, but we vibe with people like that. So all right, here's his question. Very pressing topic for us. Could get contentious in my opinion.
Hey guys, it's Mac. Just wanted to know, what is the most important part of a burrito? Thank you. Hope everything's good.
Yeah.
Tough one. It's tough. You got to think about it for a second. I'll tell you what it's not. The meat.
Okay.
No, people, it's where your mind wants to go first. The meat eaters out there, the where your mind wants to go. Burritos always get like the swag meat.
Yeah.
The good meat is for the tacos.
Yeah. The
It's
skirt
supposed to be.
steaks.
Yeah, like because
uh-huh.
a burrito's like a stew in a sense, where it's like you kind of just toss it all in there. And
Okay.
it's now there are some wonderful places that will give you like the nice cubed, like good,
Yeah.
good piece of meat. But a lot of times you just you get like tendons, you get all types of shit in there, like for a burrito. I will say rice.
Okay.
Bad rice in a burrito is awful.
Yeah, I can really throw it, especially when it congeals into like a giant blob and it takes on its own shape and brings the burrito with it in that shape.
Dry is awful. I mean, it's just
no salt.
inedible. Yeah, nothing. Awful. If it's right. I truly think that's the number one thing. Like if I had to pick what had to be quality about it,
Or carrots in the rice.
Yeah, the rice is your broth.
On it. Carrots in the rice.
Carrots in the rice. Of course, that's an old RC joke. Whole Foods pre-Bezos integration, I think. I'm just guessing here. They used to have a really good burrito bar that had very good Spanish rice. It was excellent. It was great. One day it just started containing carrots and peas and corn and stuff and just all this stuff that's like very try hard, very like cup of noodles, like the vegetables, they look like cup of noodles vegetables. And I wasn't a fan. And I remember asking the lady, like, when did this start? And the lady looked at me, she goes, it just happened. And I was like, whoa. Like, all right. It's like I was in a Shyamalan movie investigating this phenomenon in a town of people dropping dead. She's like, the carrots appeared. And then all of a sudden, like, I remember one time, perhaps this has always been the case. Maybe it has, but I'm going to go ahead and attribute this to the switch over from Whole Foods to Amazon. Is one time I was getting a burrito at the bar because the burritos are very good, but I was getting one at the bar and the lady was like, I got to get more rice if you want Spanish rice. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Cool. I get fresh rice. Sick.
Yeah.
Plastic bag of hot rice.
Yeah.
And dumped it out. And I was like, I wish you told me to turn around. When
I know. Dude, I swear that's the
like that South Park. The South Park. Turn around. Yeah. Turn around.
Yeah.
Okay, turn around.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I will say I think rice is the broth of to a soup. Like it's like the burrito is if the burrito is a soup or a broth or a stew or something, it is the base, the broth is the rice, and I think that has to be the best part. What about you?
I like what you said. I can't say that I would have guessed that before going into this that it would be rice.
About it for a
I
while.
like that because some people don't like any rice on their burritos.
That's insane.
Right?
Bean based.
Yeah. But
I like beans. I love beans, but no, it's
yeah. Are you a black bean guy?
Well, big black bean guy.
Yeah, they slap.
I prefer it way more to pinto, but both are fine. Both can happen.
I like pinto. Yeah. But
yeah, both.
For me, I'll go cherry on the top. Actually, I'm a good burrito, an elite burrito needs to have a creamy chipotle based sauce where it bleeds into the pico de gallo watery salsa and just kind of like disperses into it, and then it gets. And again, like could be sour cream based, could be crema based, you could do it, the vegan style like I do, but it's gotta have like just some kind of like smoky, creamy, fatty sauce in addition to the salsa already on there, just to make it bleed through and everything. That and like just fine diced white onions and a little bit of cilantro. That for me, that's like the trifecta right there. That's got to have it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not a pico de gallo guy, to be honest. Like I don't know what it is. Like
there's a lot of bad pico out there.
Yeah, sure. I have had like some good one that's like that's got some heat to it, and it's fresh. It's almost like the ceviche kind of like consistency. That I have had it. It's very much a treat when that happens, but most of the time it's just like very watered down bullshit that gives a crunch that I don't necessarily want in there. But I will say, for me, I think the second one is sauce, though. So, sauce is a if you get good rice and good sauce, it does not matter what else is in there. Like as far as like quality or like how it's going to taste. Like if you get good rice, good salsa, the meat can be like fine, but your salsa should do. If the meat isn't seasoned very well, the salsa will do the trick. It will mask. It's a very good masking agent for any of this. And also folding. folded. It has to be folded well because oh
Hate
my
it
god,
improper fold.
dude, it can ruin it can ruin the entire operation.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on like a job site like me. I don't have the opportunity to get a plate to just deconstruct it and eat it like a just whimpering while I eat a unfolded deconstructed burrito, because half the fun of the burrito is the very, perhaps it's a masculine, like kind of like, I got a fucking big ass thing, in my hand. Like perhaps there's a homoeroticism to eating burrito. I'm not going to say that, but perhaps like Welbeck or somebody would write about that.
Yeah,
but
and I've learned how to do. I've watched the Mexican ladies that do it right.
Oh,
Huge tortilla, first of all. Put it in the center, but a huge pile of toppings. You prep the side, you fold over the side, just prepping. You haven't folded yet. Then you do the cock back. So you get all the filling all the way in the back.
My cock's back.
Yeah, exactly.
When that happens.
And you start to roll, because if you don't cock back, that's when you don't have enough room. And then you run out of room. So you gotta
do you ever see the guy if you go to I don't do Chipotle because do you ever see the guy know he fucked up and he's like waiting for you? He's like, and he almost looks at you like, do you care? Like, you're like, I care, but I guess we're here now.
Exactly.
35 people behind me that think I'm going to be the issue here if I say something. So
I'm in the right.
Because if you see the guy like, whoever, like
you're like the gauges guy, not your problem, huh? Exactly. But for burritos,
It was like one time I got a really bad haircut from this girl that gave me the fucking Lord Farquaad. And she was at a fucking barber school, or like I thought all women could just take inches off your hair, like I thought that was basic. I thought that was basic that they could do that. So first and only time I make that mistake, but I got that haircut, and like when she first did it, she's like, do you care if it's like this? I'm like, you're showing me the thing you already cut. Do I care if it's like that? It's like, it has to be like that now. But you want me to stop? There's a free trial where is my card on file? Like and I was like, she's like, do you care? She goes, it'll come back. I was like,
that's great. You love to hear that.
I was like, well, I'm not coming back. Yeah, she was this very like Zoomer, like art gallery looking like Asian girl, and I was just like, this is the worst thing ever. Because I got a good cut from that place, but it was from the instructor. I didn't realize it was the instructor at first.
Oh yeah,
that's the first time I went in. So she just went in there, and I was like, perfect. This is like fucking $10. Dude, like, are you kidding me? This is a steal. And then you find out it's $10 also for Lord Farquaad. And anyways, the burrito science. Guys, ask us questions like that. It can be stupid. It can be like wait.
That's not a stupid question.
No, you know what I mean? It's not. It's actually an excellent question. But what I mean is it can be lighthearted. It can be like, dude, ask us if something's Reddit or not. Ask us
I actually thought of that today. I was literally thinking that today. We should do an episode where people call in and we do the Reddit or not Reddit or Reddit.
Can be contentious. There's a nuance in it. Alpha, beta. Is this certain person alpha or beta? We'll do that. You can do that at any time. It doesn't have to be a strict mailbag episode. Again, the number 510-256-9850. That's 510-256-9850. And buy some merch too. Shout out to the people. It must have been right around Christmas time. Our numbers went up in December for the merch. That was really cool. So hopefully whoever you're buying that for, perhaps yourself, hopefully it looks good. Take a picture too, share it, promote it, like shit, like promote it. Let the world know you have it, because that helps us a lot. Because I think people just are like, is that shit good? Is that cool? Like nobody sees it in the wild. And when somebody sees it in the wild, they're like, that's cool, So I got nothing else. I will say next week, this is my decision. Hopefully you agree. I'm just not going to be around to do it, but we're taking the week off of the free feed. There's not going to be a free episode next week. However, we will have your Substack episode for you this Friday coming up. That's going to happen. The paid feed will not miss a beat. Then I have an excellent one that I'm looking forward to. The James Ellroy Colt 6000 Gain of Fiction, with a very, very special guest, and a Portland guy. Or I don't know if he's Portland, but he's Oregon. So that'll be really cool. That's coming the following week. There's just not going to be anything on Christmas. And I remember last year we dropped like our Christmas special. And that was with Agitator, and it was great. And like people didn't listen to it for like 2 weeks, and they were like all behind because like just during Christmas people weren't listening to it. But afterwards, everybody caught up, and it was an excellent episode. But
I know I'm trying to get people to like remote view the NFL on Christmas weekend.
yeah,
I'm like, right now, dude?
exactly. And it's just like, I'm gonna be out of town. You're gonna be out of town. It's not gonna happen. So no free feed. But I think some of you guys are behind because we're one of the only podcasts that gives you 2 episodes a week. So if you're like just an absolute alpha and you're just on both feeds and you're on the paywalled one too, like you might be a little behind. It's tough to keep up with that kind of stuff because there's a lot of good stuff out there. But anyways, that's it. And listen to the HP Lovecraft episode. I thought that was wonderful. A lot of people are really liking it. And you can check out a lot of HP Lovecraft stuff. There's really cool stuff on YouTube where the person will just read the book or like do a kind of an audio drama of it. So, and they're very short, so you could get through that stuff, and that could be the one. You don't have to listen to the book, or you don't have to read the book for Gain of Fiction. It's not required. However, sometimes when it's short stories like that, it's very easy for you guys to get caught up. And on that note, guys, everybody have a safe week.